Hi everyone, I'm Julia from Krannich Solar. Thanks for joining today's webinar with SolarEdge. Before we get started, I'm just going to be giving a quick presentation about Krannich. Krannich Solar is headquartered in Germany and was founded by Kurt Krannich. Since being founded, Krannich has expanded into 23 different countries with the capability to ship to over 100 countries. Krannich Solar has been a strong partner to PV installers since 1995 and offers everything that is required to begin and finish your solar installation. Our international purchasing power helped us build strong relationships with your favorite manufacturers, such as SolarEdge, to secure the best pricing and availability. With a growing market share, Krannich is a privately owned and self-financed company that ranks among the leading solar wholesalers worldwide. Our experience in delivering solar products worldwide for the last 26 years has made us experts in our field. In 2005, Krannich expanded into the US with our US headquarters in New Jersey. We also have branches in California, Florida, and we are expanding into Texas with additional warehouses across the nation. We are growing every day, so keep an eye out for where we might be next. Our US team consists of over 80 employees that service the Americas and strive to offer the best services and options for our partners. Throughout the years, we have grown our product portfolio to provide over 5,000 products. We have partnered with leading manufacturers worldwide to offer the best materials for a project of any size, whether it's an off-grid system, 4-panel shingled roof, or a megawatt flat roof. Working with Krannich Solar means you'll never work alone. With our streamlined ordering process, each customer at Krannich receives a dedicated sales rep to walk them through each step of the ordering process, from project design to on-site delivery. The solar industry is always innovating and changing. At Krannich, we do our best to make sure you know about the latest products and technologies available. We team up with industry leaders and seasoned professionals to train you firsthand on everything you need to know, and it'll always be for free. And this concludes my portion of this webinar. Here's our contact information if you would like to reach out for a quote or if you have any questions regarding the products or services we offer. And if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to ask them using the questions box, and we will answer them at the end of the presentation. Thanks again for joining us, and now I'm going to be passing it along to Michelle from SolarEdge.
Thanks, Julia. Thank you for Krannich for the great partnership we always have. Such an awesome time with this team. While I'm getting set up here, would love to just test out the questions box for 1 minute. Why don't the audience shout out where you're calling in from? Where is your region? Let me know where you're calling in from. Put it in that questions box. It'll also help me to really target the material over to where you are calling in from. Tennessee, I see, Seattle, awesome. As you're putting it in there, I just want to do a quick introduction. I'm the sales education manager here at SolarEdge, so responsible for our internal sales training as well as sales training for residential sales teams. Have been in the industry for 12 years on the residential sales side and the training side, and helped to grow multiple regions for a large residential solar company before coming to SolarEdge about 3 years ago. Great to see some Californians here, some Seattle, some Tennessee, some East Coast. Welcome everybody. Today I want to talk about the SolarEdge Advantage and really dive into SolarEdge Home as well as our batteries. Let's just do another quick engagement here. Quick show of hands. There's a little hand raise button in GoToWebinar. Who here is currently installing or selling a battery system? Doesn't have to be SolarEdge, just in general, who's having some luck with batteries right now? Ooh, I see a couple of hands raised, a lot of hands raised. Okay, great. Well, I want to talk today about the SolarEdge ecosystem solution and some advantages around that, as well as just some company updates and information. So let's start with just some quick accolades. So SolarEdge is the #1 solar inverter company globally. We're in 133 countries right now. So we have a great global reach, very well known for our innovation, and the fact that we really own the process from beginning to end. So SolarEdge really focuses on research and development, manufacturing, and support to the end user. So along with that, we have had some things in the news this year that we've been very proud of. So we did join the S&P 500. We're getting into many more virtual power plant opportunities, and we're very well known for our safety, especially in the commercial space. So SolarEdge products have never been the result of a thermal event, and knock on wood, everybody knock on wood, but we are very well known for our safety. And our safety features actually also reflect in our new battery. So we'll talk about that in a bit as well. One of the most exciting things about SolarEdge this year is we actually just opened a manufacturing plant in Guadalajara, Mexico, that is supplying all of North America. So at the beginning of next year, that Guadalajara plant will be supplying all of our residential products through that manufacturing plant. I know that all of us on the call have probably had some challenges just overall with supply. And SolarEdge really wanted to ensure that we weren't having supply challenges in the coming year. So we opened up that plant ultimately so that we could just drive straight across the border instead of having to rely on air freight or actual tankers in the ocean taking our products over here. So we're really just driving them over the border at this point. So those are some interesting things that have happened this year with SolarEdge. I also like to really touch on our testing and our quality. So these are some fun facts for this team just to be assured of our product quality and our testing processes. So we actually test our products in 4 extreme weather condition profiles so that we can really ensure that our products can really stand up against extreme heat, extreme cold, extreme weather conditions. Each unit in the assembly process actually undergoes component traceability, so we know exactly where each component comes from, but also at each station, the unit is scanned and tested so that if there is a challenge, we know immediately the source of that issue and we can correct it immediately. We also rely on third-party reliability verification testing of all of our products to ensure that they're all tested before they go out into field. A couple other fun facts. We have 10 R&D facilities globally that we utilize to test and research all new products. We also pilot test on our employee sites. So many times those beta tests are happening on employee sites so that we can really strain them. We can really test their limits on employees before they go into the field. As an installer, you also can be assured that we have enhanced support. So if you're not yet signed up for no-call RMA, this is a really simple process that you can use. Really just one online training is going to get you the access to no-call RMA in your support and service portal, which allows you to submit for RMAs without calling into the call center at all. We have a lot of remote troubleshooting features because we have module level power electronics, and it allows you to remote troubleshoot from what we call SetApp, the SolarEdge monitoring portal. And we also have mySolarEdge for your homeowners. So this allows them to track and manage their entire ecosystem of products straight from their app. And we will show that in more detail a little bit later as well. All right, so let's just talk about apples to apples, the bare basics. What sets SolarEdge apart from the competitors in the market? Probably the number one thing I hear consistently that gives me gray hairs on a regular basis is SolarEdge is a string inverter. So I want to assure this team that if we're talking about PV and we're talking about the solution SolarEdge offers against our competition, SolarEdge is not a string inverter. We like to call it a DC optimized technology. Why do we call it that? Well, it has a central inverter on the wall, but it also has optimizers on the roof. So every single SolarEdge system you get is going to have optimizers paired with a central inverter. And we want to do that on purpose because it allows us to harvest more energy from the roof and convert at one central source. So let's talk about what those optimizers do on the roof. Now, these are not converting energy at a module level. These are simply maximizing the potential of the modules and maximizing the potential of what's happening on the roof. So it allows your modules to reach their full potential. Another really cool thing about the optimizers on the roof is that if there is an underperforming module, let's say this module is shaded, not only is the rest of those optimizers going to make up for that underperformance, but we can actually shift the voltage of this optimizer into neighboring optimizers so that we can increase the voltage of those optimizers to make up for that underproduction. So this is that dotted line you see here, is we not only have no impact on neighboring modules, but we also have the ability to make up for some of that underperformance on that shaded module. So when we talk about us versus a microinverter technology, just a quick reminder that because that conversion on a microinverter is happening at that module level, you're clipping that energy at a module level every time. There's only a certain amount of energy that can be converted at a module level. So you're always going to be losing a bit of energy at the module every single time, which essentially means that that module is never going to reach its full potential. So say, for example, you have a 400 watt module. That's very commonly paired with a microinverter that only has the ability to convert 290 watts. So anything between that 290 and 400, you're losing that at a module level. So for a DC optimized technology like SolarEdge, this is equating to about 1 week of free energy for your homeowners just by having a more efficient technology on the roof. Now my favorite part, let's talk about SolarEdge Home. So you may have seen this kind of rebranding of our ecosystem of products over to what we call SolarEdge Home. The reason why we rebranded is because we want to be a recognizable brand in the industry for homeowners. We kind of want to be the Apple of solar. So when that homeowner has a SolarEdge inverter, we want them to be able to say, oh, well, I need that SolarEdge Home battery as well. So we want to become that recognizable name. So the components in this ecosystem currently, as I mentioned, we have power optimizers on every module that allows you to really maximize what's happening on the roof. If you have a SolarEdge Home ecosystem, you want to have the Home Hub inverter. Can anybody tell me on the phone why you would want a Home Hub inverter as opposed to our standard HD Wave inverter? Does anybody know through the chat? Oh, I got one. So it says fully flexible. That's totally right. So this inverter is actually a flexible solution for your homeowners. So how many times do you have a homeowner that goes solar and then decides that they want to add a battery later, and it's a challenging retrofit? This allows you to add a battery seamlessly to this Home Hub inverter without having to deal with swapping out that inverter. And it allows you, yes, Robert, great, multiple ports as well. So this allows you to add batteries, EV chargers, and have these smart energy devices added. Also saw Kobe said this has a consumption meter in it. Absolutely. So that Home Hub inverter has not only a production meter, but also a consumption meter. So if you have homeowners that are looking for a flexible solution, or as a business owner, you want to be able to go back to these homeowners 6 months, a year from now, and sell them batteries, EV chargers, smart energy management devices. This gives you the opportunity to hold on to your customers for longer. So we're going to dive into that Home Hub inverter a little bit more too. Definitely, we're going to talk about the battery and the EV charger. One thing I do want to mention that you're going to see coming in Q1 are these smart energy management devices. So the relays, the switches. This is really going to allow you to back up the entire home and then put a relay on some of the larger devices. So if you put a relay on those larger devices, it will automatically turn off those devices in a blackout scenario, and will allow your homeowners to turn them back on if they want. So it's really a energy management solution that will automatically make decisions that are most intelligent for your homeowner's home in certain situations, but will also allow your homeowners to override and turn on and off these items. All right, I got some questions in here about the EV charger. We are going to talk about that, so I think I'll answer those in just a couple more slides. Let's first dive into the Home Hub inverter. So this is that inverter deluxe. I'm sure many of you are saying that looks just like the HD Wave. Yes, it looks like our standard PV inverter. You're totally right, except it has these multiple ports in them. So that is really the differentiator with the Home Hub is you have the ability to connect batteries, EV chargers. As Kobe mentioned, this has a consumption meter built in. So this allows your homeowner to not only monitor how much they're producing, but also how much they're consuming, and it's built into that inverter. We have all of the basic sizes in the Home Hub inverter. Many of our customers are actually standardizing on this product just because it allows them to add on later. A couple of really cool features about the Home Hub too, when we're talking about batteries, is that after that 7.6 kW on-grid power inverter, you actually have the capability of pushing 10 kW off-grid power with 2 batteries. So this will actually allow you to have even more off-grid capabilities than on-grid, which is very neat. So that 7610 is really our flagship product. It's the most popular one on the market right now because of that flexibility. Okay, so here's our EV charger. I saw a couple of questions on this. So this is a level 2 charger. So it's considered a fast charger up to 40 amps. It does have the industry best 5-year warranty, rated for indoor or outdoor, extended cable length, compatible with all electric vehicles on the market right now. So it's what we call a universal plug. One of the really cool features about the EV charger is when you integrate this directly into the inverter, the Home Hub inverter, it allows you to charge from excess PV energy. We call that solar boost mode. So if there's more energy that's being produced on the roof than what that home is consuming, you can throw it directly into the car. And I did want to show a couple different installation options because it's pretty flexible when it comes to install. As you see, it's a standalone product, so it gives us more flexibility with how we're going to install this product. Best case scenario, easiest installation is wiring it directly into the Energy Hub inverter. So the Home Hub inverter or the Energy Hub, if you wire it directly into that inverter, it's going to give you that solar boost mode. Obviously, it's going to also share a breaker with that inverter. So that's probably one of the things as a homeowner that is most advantageous is if you're wiring this directly into the inverter, this EV charger is not going to be taking up separate breaker space in the main service panel. So let's say we have that 7.6 inverter, that Home Hub inverter. You can have realistically a battery and an EV charger sharing that same 40 amp breaker with that inverter, which is one of the advantages of having a DC inverter in your ecosystem because it's limiting the amount of space you need on that main service panel. So let's say you have a homeowner that has a standard PV only HD Wave inverter, one that you couldn't pair with a battery, but they want an EV charger. So good news is you can actually wire this EV charger directly into a standard HD Wave as well. All you're going to need is what is called a solar boost kit. You can get that from Krannich directly, and it's a small terminal block that's going to go into that inverter to make it compatible. So you can wire this directly into an HD Wave. And this can also be a standalone EV charger. So it can be wired directly into the main service panel if that homeowner doesn't have solar, for example, or it can be plugged directly into a 240 volt outlet if that homeowner doesn't have solar. All right. Yes, so a couple of questions here. This is compatible with Tesla cars. You just need that small little adapter that you get from Tesla when you purchase a vehicle. Because this is standalone, this can be far away from the inverter. It is actually communicating wirelessly, and so one of the challenges, you have to wire it directly into the inverter. And so say, for example, you have this inverter outside and you want this in the garage. We have had people wire it through the wall. And so it really is just about the amount of wiring that you want to do in order to sync up this system. Best case scenario, these are both in the garage. But again, you can wire it through the ground, the attic, or the wall if it is on the opposite side of the wall. Okay, so let's talk about our battery. Many people ask where our battery comes from. We actually acquired a top 5 global battery leader in the large scale battery space about 3 years ago. Their name is Kokam. And they're very well known for these airplanes that travel around the world on solar plus batteries. I found out the other day a fun fact that the submarine that found the Titanic had a Kokam battery in it. They're very well known for military drones with their battery in it. And so they have had a lot of experience in the space for large scale batteries. And the great news is we have full availability of our battery right now. We have a 2 gigawatt hour manufacturing plant that is only focused on our residential battery. And we've ensured that we have availability for North America because we know that there has been some challenges with battery supply in the recent years. So that's kind of where our battery comes from. Definitely take a look at Kokam online. They have many accolades, very cool videos online that show their products. So we now own that company and we manage that manufacturing facility for our battery specifically. So an interesting fact is, solar plus battery installations, even during a pandemic, grew by 30% in 2021 over 2020. It's anticipated to grow over 50% by 2025. With the new NEM 3.0 and other NEM challenges that we've had within the country, we're anticipating even that to grow even more by 2025. So if you haven't yet looked into a battery, right now is absolutely the time to do so. And this is our battery. So this is what we call the SolarEdge Home battery. 9.7 kilowatt hour usable capacity. So you can discharge that 9.7 kilowatt hours to 100%. So this is considered a 10 kilowatt hour battery, 9.7 usable capacity. 5 kW continuous power per battery. As I mentioned, when you have that 7.6 or higher inverter, it allows you to have 10 kW of continuous power off grid with 2 batteries. We're going to talk about the efficiency in just a minute because it's something that really sets us apart. But another thing that's important to note is the warranty. So many of the batteries on the market will have this 10-year, 70% capacity retention warranty. So after 10 years, we ensure that you have 70% capacity retention left over. But something to remember and to look at in part of this warranty is the cycle limit. So SolarEdge actually has unlimited cycles within that warranty period. So it allows your homeowners to charge and discharge on any basis that they want. This will allow them to, in places that have time of use or they want to utilize their battery at night. Unlimited cycles is very important in that case. So also, if you're in an area that has demand response incentives, that unlimited cycles piece is very important. Multiple battery stacking. So does anybody remember how many batteries you can stack on one inverter? Kobe knows 3. So 3 batteries per inverter, 3 inverters per backup interface. So I see a couple questions about the backup interface here. Let's take a quick pause on and talk about that backup interface. So 3 inverters per backup interface will give you the capability of installing 9 batteries on a system if you really need it. If your homeowner wants backup power, so 99.99% of homeowners looking at a battery solution will want backup power, right? You also need that backup interface to have this solution work. So this is very similar. It looks like many of you are already installing battery solutions. Every type of battery solution is going to have a backup interface type of component. Ultimately, what that is an auto transfer switch, auto disconnect, and it allows your homeowner to be disconnected from the grid in an outage scenario. So that's what that backup interface does. To Gabby's point here, you will need a backup interface if you have a battery solution with SolarEdge, because ultimately homeowners want that backup power capability. You also have the ability to connect a generator to our backup interface as well. So currently right now, generator support is in tier 1, which essentially allows you to connect a generator and have a generator and the solar work independently from one another. At the end of Q1, there's going to be a firmware upgrade, which is essentially just over the cloud, allows you to make an update on your homeowner's system that will allow that battery to actually be charged from the generator. So currently right now that capability is not active, but it will be a firmware upgrade that's happening towards the beginning of the year. This is probably one of the biggest questions we get is safety, right? Is your battery safe? You can be assured that the SolarEdge Home battery has UL 9540A certification, which is the highest safety capability in any home battery solution on the market. So UL 9540A certification on this battery. I wanted to show a couple of visuals of the flexibility in installation. So you can install this on the wall, or you can install this on the floor. So this is the floor mounting that you can get with this battery. Each battery has a floor mount, so they kind of stack one behind the other, and these floor mounts jigsaw into each other. So it's taking up minimal space. In some of the larger installations we've seen, 5, 6 battery solutions, utilizing a wall mount and a floor option, mix and match, is a really seamless design, especially if you don't have the wall space for these batteries. These are rated for indoor or outdoor installation, but the temperature rating is 14 degrees to 122 degrees. So anybody who gets, that's the operating temperature. So in areas that get cold, we would recommend this definitely being installed inside. And on the other side of things, really hot, if you're in Arizona, Nevada, places like that, we would recommend this being installed inside as well. Okay, so let's talk about the efficiency piece. So this is definitely a differentiator when it comes to our solution versus the competition. SolarEdge is considered a DC coupled solution. So that means that the PV system and those batteries both sit on the DC side of the system. And that's an advantage because we want to keep that energy in DC for as long as possible, because it allows us to manipulate where that energy goes based on what's most advantageous for that homeowner. So let's just talk about the efficiency piece. One of the reasons why it's such high efficiency is because we have one conversion of energy before we can use that energy in the home. That central inverter allows us to have one conversion of energy before we utilize it in the house. When we're talking about an AC coupled storage solution, this actually requires 3 different conversions of energy before we use it in the home. So every single time we need to convert that energy, it dilutes a little bit. For this entire ecosystem, this is equating to a 6.5% efficiency gain on our side of things. So 6.5% efficiency increase on a SolarEdge solution versus the AC coupled, just because of the conversion and the efficiency. So for your homeowners, if that homeowner is discharging the battery on a daily basis, that's equating to about 10 days of free power for your homeowners through that battery. I'm going to check the chat just for a minute because I'm seeing quite a bit of questions come in, and I think it probably makes sense to answer them as we go. So I saw one about the DC generator solution. So you can rely on the fact that SolarEdge is not going to have a generator anytime soon. So we won't be developing a generator. We are going to be compatible with generators that are already on the market. So you can bet that we won't have a generator in our product mix anytime soon. I see a couple of people asking about specifics in your territory. I'll reach out right after this meeting. We did talk about the backup interface. Let's see. So the rating of the charger is 40 amps. So it can go up to 40 amps. Okay, I think we got most of them. Let's see. Okay, let's keep it going. I'm gonna keep looking at the chat box as well. So a couple of the things, especially I'm looking at you, California, that's on the call, Florida as well, Texas, places that have main panel upgrades. One of the huge advantages of SolarEdge is we're able to avoid main panel upgrades more often, not only in our solar solution, but also in our smart energy solution. So I would, suffice to say, I would challenge anybody that the majority of the time you have a battery solution, you have to do a main panel upgrade in most cases. Sometimes we get lucky and that homeowner has a 400 amp service panel and we're good to go. But I think that most times we need that main service panel to be upgraded in order to install a battery. The good news with SolarEdge is because all of our products sit on the DC side of the inverter, we have the ability to share breaker space with that inverter. So as you see here, the DC PV goes into the inverter, the battery, and even our AC charger will share a breaker space with that inverter. So as I mentioned, this, on the 7.6 inverter, this can be a 40 amp breaker, and that's all that's going to take up space in that main service panel. When we're talking about an AC coupled solution, the PV, the battery, and the EV charger are all taking up separate breaker space. So we're looking at upwards of 80 to 100 amps required in an AC coupled solution, which of course will trigger that main panel upgrade nearly every time. So you have the ability to avoid more main panel upgrades with our solution. One of my very favorite parts of this entire ecosystem is the ability to do 200% oversizing. So I know many of you are probably thinking, I would never oversize my inverter 200% because it's going to clip energy excessively. So you're absolutely right in most cases, except that with a battery solution, I'm going to go back to this visual because it's helpful. With a battery solution, any energy that would typically be clipped can actually be thrown into the battery. So we have the ability to harvest that energy and put it directly in the battery because we're on that DC side. So we have some homeowners right now, for example, let's just take that 7.6 kW inverter. If we're able to oversize that inverter to 200%, that would mean you could put 15.2 kW on that 7.6 kW inverter. So that would mean that a homeowner is, most advantageous for homeowners that are cycling on a daily basis, of course. The homeowner would be charging their battery with excess clipped energy, and the rest of that PV system would be feeding the house. So you have the ability to oversize these inverters. This is advantageous also if you have a homeowner who wants to expand their system later, for example. So again, 7.6 kW inverter. Maybe this homeowner today has a 9 kW solar system, but 3 years down the line, not even 3 years, it's been about a year down the line, homeowners are wanting to expand their system, especially if they're getting an electric vehicle. Let's say she wants to expand her system 3 kW additional so that she can charge her EV. You have the capability on that 7.6 kW inverter with a battery to expand that system up to a 15.2. So you'd be able to do that without having to swap that inverter out beforehand. So you have that flexibility for expansion as well. Okay, the mySolarEdge app. So this is exactly what your homeowner would see. This is what we like to call, a really user-friendly curtain over our monitoring portal so that homeowners can really interact with their ecosystem. So this is going to show the homeowner how much their solar is producing and where that energy is going at any given time. So maybe it's going into the house, charging the battery, charging the car, and then maybe it's being sent back to the grid, for example. So they're going to be able to watch that behavior throughout the day. This is that production and consumption monitor. So if they scroll down on this app, they'll be able to see how much their system's producing and how much energy they're using during the day. And then it's going to follow them throughout the day. So as the sun goes down, it's going to start discharging into the home. We have several different modes with the battery. So we have maximize self-consumption, which allows your homeowners to discharge that battery at those peak times of day. Or if that homeowner just wants to use it for backup in emergency situations, they have the ability to keep it at backup only mode. They also have the ability to change their battery reserve levels. So say, for example, that homeowner wants to keep 30% of their battery in that state at all times. It will only discharge down to that 30%. So they have the ability to change those backup reserve levels. And this is what those smart energy devices are going to look like once those come out as well, those relays and switches. It's going to allow your homeowners to turn on and off those heavier loads straight from their app. The reason why I show this on this call is you have the ability to download mySolarEdge on your phone as well without any login at all. So even if you don't have a system of your own, you can use this to illustrate the advantages to homeowners because we have demo sites on there that you can use to showcase to homeowners anytime. So I'd highly recommend going to any app store you have on your phone, download mySolarEdge, and you're going to see a login screen. But you don't need a login. Just look at the bottom of that screen. It's going to say demo sites. Those are real sites. Many of them are our employees that you can use to illustrate this to your homeowners. And by the way, your homeowners can download this even before they have a system of their own, so they can watch those demo sites. A couple other safety features that we have through our app. So your homeowners are going to get a pop-up that says, we have you backed up when they're in backup mode. It's going to give them approximately how much time they have left on their battery based on the usage in their home at that time. So that is going to allow them to conserve if they need to. WeatherGuard is a really cool system that will actually take all of the weather satellites in the area and predict severe weather, and will charge the battery to full capacity before the storm hits. So this includes things like high winds. It doesn't have to be something like a hurricane. In places where the PSP events or the utility events are triggered by high winds, this is actually going to activate for that as well. So it'll automatically charge your battery to full capacity so that it'll be ready for a blackout. So a couple advantages is just a quick summary of some of our advantages over the competition. Continuous power. So we have a high continuous power relative to our competition, 5 kW continuous power. Ultimately, what that means is how many things can you back up in the house at one time? In compared to our competition, we can back up 30% more things or larger devices in the home with our 5 kW continuous power. We have a 6 to 6.5% higher efficiency on our battery, equating for your homeowners to about 10 days of free power. The warranty period has unlimited cycles, so that allows your homeowner to charge and discharge on a daily basis without having to worry about that cycle limit. You can stack up to 3 batteries per inverter and up to 3 inverters per backup interface. So 9 batteries total per home if that homeowner wants it. And you can also send excess power to the battery because we're on that DC side. So you can oversize the inverter and really utilize that clipped power to charge the battery. We also have a lot of SolarEdge resources when it comes to SolarEdge Home. I'll send this out to Julia so she can send it to the group as well. These are all hyperlinks that are selling tools for homeowners to get them excited about the ecosystem solution. It includes an entire selling tool as well as promo videos that you can send for follow-up to your prospects, interactive brochures, an estimator tool to estimate the battery sizing and really interact with the homeowner. So these are, we've put a lot of effort to consumer-facing materials with SolarEdge Home so that you can better illustrate the value. Quick reminder here, if you have not yet purchased a SolarEdge battery through Krannich, it's important that your team gets certified on the technical side of things through Edge Academy. If you have a monitoring portal account with SolarEdge, you have access to Edge Academy. Just going to solaredge.com, go into that little login button, you'll see a drop down that says Edge Academy. In order to purchase the battery through distribution, somebody on your team will need to be fully certified through our battery technical certification. This is not only going to allow your team to easily install this battery on site and be more efficient, but it'll also give them prioritization to our service team on the phone if they need to call in for any support. Quick reminder that all of these also have NABCEP continuous learning credits associated with them. So if you're part of NABCEP, that's helpful for you. And these are all self-paced interactive modules, so you can take them at your own pace. There's no actual limit to the time that you need to spend on these modules. We also offer in-person training with our field service team. So if you are getting into your first installation, please let your regional sales manager at SolarEdge know that you would like some support on site, because we want to send a technical support team out to help you with those first couple of installations. Lastly, in terms of support, we do have a sales elite group just for residential sales teams. So this includes interactive training sessions for sales strategies, kitchen table selling tools, and we do a lot of giveaways. So if you just Google SolarEdge Sales Elite, it'll allow you to do a quick and easy sign up. We're going to be sending out the monthly newsletter for the Sales Elite this week. So definitely make sure your team is involved with that. We have a Sales Elite Facebook group. If you have any specific questions that you need immediate answers to, sending those to the Sales Elite Facebook group will be prioritized. And I'm sure this team knows about the playlist on YouTube, but we are constantly putting YouTube videos up on our SolarEdge North America site. So make sure you're subscribed to that so you can get updates for that as well. All right, I'm getting off my soapbox. I want to prioritize your questions. I'm going to look at these and see if we need to answer any more. Can the client change the profile of the battery? So currently this is on the installer side. You're going to set up the profile that's along with the homeowner that makes sense to them. So maximize self-consumption and during which times, as well as backup mode. So if that homeowner has a preference on which one they want to do, the installer will set that up for them through the monitoring portal. But to your point, that your homeowner has the capability of changing their backup reserve levels. So if that homeowner goes in there and toggles the backup reserve level, they can change that based on their needs. So if they want to discharge the battery more, maybe they'll put the backup reserve at 20%, 15%. If they want to reserve more, they can put it at 75, 80%. I saw a couple of questions in here about scheduling the EV charger. So there are smart scheduling capabilities on when to charge the EV through the app as well. So your homeowners will do that and set their own EV charger profile directly through their app if they have the SolarEdge EV charger. I saw a couple here about wiring a different EV charger into our inverter. So the only EV charger that you can wire to our inverter is our SolarEdge EV charger. I think we got most of them here. I saw a couple requests about regional specifics that I'll send out. What other questions do we have, team, that we can help with? A new requirement by the fire department for heat detector. So I don't know specifically. We have somebody on our team who is specifically working with all of the utilities around the country on requirements and on the AHJs on requirements and policies and procedures to ensure that our battery is up to date and compliant with all codes. So I'm sure that he's working with that. There are a lot of things that change on a regular basis with different AHJs. So that's him and his team that work on that. Okay, any other questions? Let's see. If you install 2 inverters to the backup interface, do you need to derate the main panel? It depends on the size of the main service panel. So generally with 1 inverter, if you have the 7.6 inverter, 40 amps of backfeed, it's typically associated with kind of a 200 amp service panel. So yeah, with 2 inverters, you would likely, if you're wiring that into that, you would likely need a main panel upgrade on a 2 inverter system. David, I'll follow up with you about that because I believe we have a firmware upgrade that will help with the energy hubs on using two batteries from the Gen 1. Okay, anything else? Let's see. I think we got most of them. Okay, Julia, I think that we got all of the questions here. Anything else you want me to cover?
No, that's about it. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Yes.
And I know there was a comment on here asking about if we'll be getting delivery vehicles at our Florida office. And we do have plans we're slated to get delivery vehicles coming this January. So that should streamline our delivery process there. So yeah, I think that's about it.
Great. Thank you so much. Have a happy holidays, everyone. And I have a couple follow-ups that I'll reach out to you directly with. But if you do need anything, I'm also going to put my email address in the chat for everybody just in case. If you have any additional questions, I can definitely answer those for you. All right. Thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.